You know how good I am at this? It feels like something is missing from this groove. Perhaps a shaker or something? Imagine if I had like a percussion machine that could play music like a human, something like that. I mean, wouldn't that... Hey! Whoa! Didn't see you there. 10 out of 10 banger intro. Should we try the percussion machine to spice up the groove? Here we go. Hey everyone, today I'm trying something really fun and interesting. Last week I built a mechanical shaker that worked, but it didn't sound perfect. This was the first prototype and it didn't sound good. The second prototype had this jazzy groove, which I don't want. Here's a third prototype and it sounded best, but it sounded very machine-like. So when a shaker is really grooving, it's not a static back and forth like this. It has a cacophony quality to it, like this. Cacophony. So I want to translate my human groovy playing into a mechanical arm. And to do that, I'm going to measure my movement across this ruler. The first thing I'm going to do is to paint a red dot in the middle of the shaker, which we'll use for sideways detection. I have my phone set up here at 240 frames slow motion, and I'm recording here in Logic. So now I want to listen for the best part. Let's start with the tambourine. I want to listen for when I'm like in the pocket and when it really grooves. Not here. This part over here sounds really good. Let's try to find our shaker part. No. That's really good one. This is great. And if we remove the shaker from that, the beat is dying. Yes. I lost myself into the groove. I've been sitting playing for the camera for 15 minutes, but it tells a story. The shaker makes me losing myself in the music. I need to solve this. Let's build a mechanical shaker that can play this groove. This is the best shaker. Here I am in Photoshop and I'm adding grid lines to the ruler, and then I can export a transparent PNG that I can overlay on my video. And when I play back the footage, I can read the position of the red dot pretty accurately. I'm gonna start on frame 1. It's the frame where the shaker is furthest to the left. That's frame 1. So here's my spreadsheet. Frame 1, 144. 1 frame forward. Boom. 144. 145. 146. And so on for the whole cycle. I'm gonna take 160 measurements on this one. 216. You know what just struck me is that I don't think anyone has ever put a grid line over a shaker and mapped the movement onto a spreadsheet. I might be the first one in the world. So the K column is our constructed graph here, and I really like this pattern. I want to find the middle of this. I'm going to do a max search of the K column, and then I'm gonna do a mean search. Now I want to move this graph down so half of the values are below 0. Here we can see the left-right movement above the middle. Cacophony, 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 cacophony. The measurements in my chart is describing the movement of the shaker. It's not describing the movement of the follower here. So now I have to translate the values from the shaker to the cam. And to do that, I'm gonna make some measurements. Axle to pivot is 130. So up here is the shaker, it's going back and forth. So what I need to do now is that I need to compress the values for the cam follower. So 12 divided on 3 is 4. And here is the movement of the cam follower, which has been compressed by 4. So I took these values and I started inserting them in CAD. Then I added this grid with 80 points. On this grid, I added these points. And for each point, I entered the value which the point is offset from the center. So that's basically just the values from this column. And now when we have the values of all the points around the entire circle, I can string them together with a 3D spline. Here's the whole shape. On the old design, the walls of the cam was perpendicular, which meant that when the bearing is tilting like this, it goes on the edge of the walls and create these marks, as you can see here. So on the new version, I wanted to tilt the inside of the walls to follow the pivot of the reader. So at the 4 outermost positions, I added the tilt, and then I did a loft feature. This loft is using the tilted profiles to cut a groove, but I'm using this 3D spline as a center line. You can see that here the bearing is going to be tilted to the right, and if we spin it a bit, the bearing is tilted to the left. I am ridiculously excited about this design. Oh, I hope it will work. So the ridges from the print are sounding quite a lot. So I'm gonna sand them down a bit to reduce the sound. Before, after. Very good. So I made the width of the groove adjustable by removing some material from here, and I'm gonna shim with paper until we have the correct thickness. Will this shape sound like a human playing shaker? Perhaps. Here's the old prototype with a cam groove that didn't sound human. It sounded too machine-like. So I'm taking the old prototype apart and I'm building up the new one. So this will be prototype number 4. So hopefully the 4th prototype can have more of a human groove to it. Let's see. This is ready to be tested and I'm pretty nervous. So the angled groove seems to be quite nice. So what I want to see right here is that the bearings are perpendicular to the wall. So the wall is actually following the bearing pretty nicely. However, there's quite a lot of slack. You hear that? The precision of the groove isn't what I hoped for. I think actually the loft feature of Fusion 360 isn't the correct way to do this. I don't know really how to CAD this more precise. You can hear the banging. I don't like that. If I pull on this towards me, the bearing will only read the right side of the cam and it will not bang into the other wall when it's switching walls. So let's add a spring to this before try running it. Now with the spring here, you can see that the bearing is on the right side of the cam at all times. God, I really want this to work. Should sound better than the unintelligent mechanical back and forward pattern. Let's try this. This sounds better. Why? Wait. Oh my God. Yes. You know how good I am at this? Oh, I tensioned the spring. I think it sounds better with the tension spring. I just pulled on the spring to give it more spring tension, and it sounded even better. Okay. I think I do have something. Here's all my 7 shakers. Of all these 7, I really like the sound of this blue one the best. I stopped the shaker with the scissors. A world first, yet again, on Wintergatan Wednesday. By putting the spring on a sliding thing that slides in and out like this, I can connect the muting lever to this slider. When I pull the lever on, this slides back and the shaker will play. Off, on. Off, on. Off. I made a very simple mock-up sketch. So this stopper will be like the human hand in the... And then we have the tracks. So here I wrote down the main features. Most questions remains in how these tracks would be made. Should I make them replaceable so we can play several patterns on the shaker? And most of all, when I create these patterns, I would love to be able to adjust them manually on the instrument so I can listen to the shaker and make an adjustment down here. This is the full machine, and I've gone and inserted the module right here. What I'm making is a piece of art, and I have an intuition of what will make this a good piece of art. And I think adding this rocking back and forth movement will be so visual and just intriguing and amazing. So this module would only be used for a handful of songs. But I also think that dynamic is important. When you go to a concert with the marble machine and you know song 3 is featuring the tambourine module all of a sudden, that's kind of the thing that makes you want to tell your friends about the machine, which is one of the design requirements that I'm working towards. Thank you to the 25 new Wintergatan backers. Thank you so much. I'm going to make a decision right now that yes, I need this on the Marble Machine 3. I'm actually really proud over the fact that I could take my human playing and actually make a mechanical way of mimicking that actually grooves. Thank you to all the 697 Wintergatan backers who are supporting these videos through Patreon and YouTube memberships. Perhaps we can break 700 for next week. I'm very happy for all your support, and I'm very happy to be back with this new season of Wintergatan Wednesdays. A special thanks to everyone who commented welcome back on the last week's video. That really warmed my heart.